Hey guys and welcome to another reaction video. And yeah, today I'm taking a look at the next two videos of the Taking MLP series but to seriously series by the Fiery Joker or George Scorcher or Equestria and not Equestria today, Forward Operation Base Equestria, I think it was called, which is made by the same guy. Yeah. Today, the two episodes are Twilight Time and I believe it is Somepony to Watch Over Me. Yeah, I'm first gonna say something to Twilight. I'm gonna say something about Twilight Time. I liked it. It was one of those episodes that I definitely did like, but weren't all that significant. It's not the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of season 4. I think it was an all-around good episode. Not great, but good. I can't really see any critique points. I liked Twilight in the episode, because the CMC were always kind of afraid she was gonna get angry with them, and I could see her getting a little bit angry, but she wasn't. She never got really angry, which I think was nice. It shows her from one of her good sides, I think. It was also one of the episodes. Did this come out before or after Rainbow Falls? After, yeah, I think at least. But just like Rainbow Falls, it was one of those episodes where they actually show that ponies do notice that she's a princess now. At the end of season 3, when Twilight became a princess, people. You know it, but I'm still gonna say it. People were afraid that that's gonna change like the whole thing and that Twilight isn't gonna do shit with her friends anymore, which didn't happen luckily. But she, for the most part, or for quite a while, I think, and for the most part of the season, it didn't really change a lot. She was still doing stuff with her friends and just like before, but there were a few episodes where it actually did matter that she was now a princess, and that's a good thing, because if these episodes wouldn't exist, they could have just let the whole Princess Twilight thing out. There was no need for that. If it wouldn't made any difference, it shouldn't have made a huge difference. It shouldn't change everything. And it didn't, but it made some differences here and there. At some points, they actually did show that she was now royalty, and ponies recognized that. And yeah, treated her now a little bit differently, or actually quite differently than before, in some situations at least. Rainbow Falls did that too, with her having an actual royal duty to fulfill, which was a good thing. And this one is now that people now really like her and see her as kind of a celebrity. Yeah, if that would have been a constant thing, if she was now constantly chased by some paparazzis, or I think you call it something else, but whatever, by fans or something, it would have been a little bit annoying, but it didn't happen, so it was quite nice. So yeah, I think that's a good thing. Yeah, overall, I can't see any real big critique points with the episode. You could probably nitpick here and there some things, and I'm sure he's gonna do it maybe. But I personally can't see any big points where I would say that doesn't make sense, or that's stupid, or that's bad, or whatever. But I haven't seen the episode in a while, so maybe I'm forgetting things. Should I turn that lamp down a little bit more? I think it's gonna work for now. But yeah, I mean, it's not a full review, but still, let's see what he says to the episode. I'm gonna say something to Somepony to Watch Over Me later, because I've already been talking for quite a while. 3, 2, 1, click.
Heavenly shades of night.
You know, everyone's been saying that this is the best CMC episode to date. Don't get me wrong, I like it, and while it's certainly an important episode, I just don't think it's the best CMC episode.
No, I don't think either.
Let me explain. So this episode starts off with the CMC studying with Twilight. I got all the way to this episode without knowing this one was about the CMC, so I was kinda surprised, and she's apparently teaching them skills. Guess her friends pulled a few strings. Apple Bloom is making potions. Makes sense. She hangs out with Sakura. Scootaloo is learning how to assemble unicycles and the like. Makes sense. She uses a lot of sports vehicles. And Sweetie Belle is learning levitation. Makes sense.
She is a unicorn.
Does it have to be human? Feed me. Does it have to be mine? Feed me. Where am I supposed to get it? Feed me, Seymour.
I think it's nice to see Twilight like this. You know, helping little kids in private and not making a giant spectacle about it like most other celebrities do. Many analysts have complained that we never really get to see Twilight do any princessy stuff, and she's never really treated with any respect. And I'm not sure if I want to smack or laugh at those people. It just bothers me when people see Twilight now, all they see is Princess, and the only thing she's allowed to be doing is Princess things. She's not Twilight anymore.
Stupid.
Anyways, what happens next is...
Not at all true.
You know what? I'm gonna go all the way. I'm gonna address common complaints against Princess Twilight this season. We never see her doing princess things. Okay, do you guys
Rainbow
really
Falls?
want an episode where Twilight just sifts through political bullcrap all day? That would be pretty boring.
Yeah.
Not being treated with any respect for saving the world? Oh, yeah, because war heroes totally have to deal with hounding fans on their doorstep every day. At most, they just get a small parade and people forget about them the next day. Kinda like in the show. The meaning of princess doesn't mean anything. We know nothing about an equestrian princess's schedule, their assigned duties, and all we have to go on is grand assumptions from tiny details.
True.
And then there are those that have headcanons based off a theory popularized in fanfiction and refuse to change it because of that. Sometimes I get the feeling that fanfiction is poisoning bronies' minds into thinking something in the show is canon when it isn't. I like to think each episode we see Twilight nowadays is just her during her off time, or maybe she's still a princess in training. Who knows? It hasn't been explained yet. Just wait. I'm sure the writers are aware of this. We should just give them time to explain and shouldn't pester them for exposition dumps every single episode.
True. I agree. I
Back to
fully
the
agree.
episode. And then we come back to the school with freaking Diamond Twerp and Silver Scum, just as bratty, selfish, attention-grubbing, and one-dimensional as ever. I've gone on and on about why I hate them, so I'll spare you. I figured Diamond Twit's family was rich, but apparently they can afford to have their daughter have a personal butler, who does tricks and stuff, and caters to the whims of said daughter. And the father is totally cool with this. Weird. I don't know. Filthy Rich seemed like a decent guy in
Yeah,
Family
actually he
Appreciation
did.
Day. Maybe he's just an incompetent dad, or the mother who is currently unknown is the actual bad influence.
Yeah, she
or
is.
Or maybe both. Or maybe Diamond Tool's just an unholy hellspawn with no chance of redemption.
Just wait till season
Then
5.
the CMC let loose that they get to see Princess Twilight on occasion, and the two bullies are now suddenly very friendly to our heroines. Gee, haven't seen that before in any media. And they want in on Twilight Time. The CMC agree. I can honestly say I did not see that coming. These are the two that bully them constantly, and they're letting them in on this.
Yeah.
It's like the CMC
Okay.
realize that Diamond Troll and Silver Spittle are one-dimensional and don't take them all that seriously. But still seriously enough to realize they might actually let up on the teasing of the CMC if allowed to come. Ever since my last video, people have asked me why I like Sweetie Belle. Well, quite a few reasons. Not all of them exemplified here, but some of them. The main thing I like about her is that she has the most social skills of the group, for obvious reasons. She can usually read the situation from multiple angles. She still makes mistakes, but this is still a pretty impressive development for a child to have. There's even points where Sweetie's downright manipulative, and it is hilarious. I guess I like that she seems sweet and innocent, yet she has all the makings of a future supervillain, because she gets the entire school to eat out of her hoof. Does this look like the face of mercy to you? So the CMC get others to do favors for them, and we get another polished hoof reference. Is anyone else getting sick of that yet? Because I am. The kids want to see Twilight up close, so the three invite
get the
Twilight to a
reference.
fast food joint, where Twilight shows a complete lack of grace. Okay, question. Didn't this gal grow up in Canterlot, home of
did.
the snobs and high class?
Maybe
and
she didn't
didn't
care.
she grow under the tutelage of the freaking princess? You would think she would have
Maybe
learned
the
how to
princess
carry
didn't
herself,
care.
or at least learned how to eat neatly. There's no way she just forgot her manners. I don't think simple dining etiquette deteriorates within 2 years, people. Or maybe she just doesn't give a darn. Eventually, the kids become even grabbier.
Maybe she just doesn't give a fuck.
When all the kids show up on Twilight's doorstep, you'd expect Twilight to be mad at this.
Yeah,
but
I did.
No. She shows no favoritism and invites them all in, assuming they are all there to gain knowledge.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how Cadence got started in full sitting. On a more serious note, the best thing I loved about this episode was its unpredictability. There were so many cliches that threatened to pop up, but when the opportunity rose, it completely went the other direction.
Yeah.
Mainly Twilight not being mad at anything.
Yeah.
She kept a completely level head through all of this, and even delivered one of the best take-thats I've seen. As to why this isn't my favorite CMC episode, well, I just like Fight to the Finish better. It made me like and respect Scootaloo a lot more, and this one didn't really do that for any of the three, at least for me. There are a few things that bugged me, like Pipsqueak dropping a line or two that no kid would say, a couple animation choices left me confused and unsettled, and of course, Diamond Twit and Silver shit. What? I don't swear. Don't take it so seriously.
Together at last at Twilight Time.
Okay. Yeah, for the most part, we were pretty much the same opinion. I don't know. I don't think it's my favorite CMC episode, but I never thought about what my favorite CMC episode could be. I don't know. I don't really want to think about it. I don't have a favorite CMC episode, and I don't think I need one. It might be this one, or it might not be if I would now start thinking about them and comparing them, but I'm not going to. I don't see why I should. Yeah. Scootaloo used to be my favorite CMC, but I'm not that sure anymore. Recently I did start to like Sweetie Belle a lot more too. I still do really like Scootaloo and of course Apple Bloom too, but he definitely did make a point with it. Yeah, maybe I should think about that more. Not entirely sure. Yeah, but overall, I don't think I have a whole lot to say. I think I agree with him for the most part. So the next one, Somepony to watch over me. I guess it doesn't really show Applejack from her best side. Being extremely overprotective of Apple Bloom was something I didn't entirely see coming for AJ, but it didn't strike me as being that out of character. It just seemed to be like a character trait she might have very well had from the very first season, but we just never saw it, or I never saw or recognized it. Yeah, just because we have never seen her like that doesn't mean she wasn't always like it. So I wouldn't say that she's extremely out of character in this one and they totally altered her just to make this episode work. I can live with her. It's like I said, it's not one of her best character traits, but every good character has at least a few flaws. It makes them more realistic and more relatable. So this is just one of them, being overprotective at times where she shouldn't be. It does, for me, show a little bit of distrust in Apple Bloom's abilities to take care of herself. I mean, I think we can all agree on that. Being extremely overprotective about someone just means that you don't trust them to be able to do things on their own, which is not a good thing. And I could definitely relate with Apple Bloom. I can't say that I've ever been in a situation like this, even though I am the youngest of 3 children. I have 2 older sisters. But they were never extremely overprotective or anything, but I have been very frustrated thanks to them, so I could definitely relate to that at least. I would have been frustrated in Apple Bloom's situation too. And I like to be alone. I'm not antisocial or anything. I have no problem with being with my friends. I can have a great time, but I can also have a really good time on my own and just being a little alone for a while. So yeah, I don't know. I like to be home alone. So I could totally see why she's annoyed, and I did very much feel with her through the entire episode. So yeah, again, I liked it. I think I like Twilight Time more, but I have no big problems with this because I don't think that AJ is out of character. If you have the feeling that AJ is totally out of character in this one, you will not like the episode, obviously, but I didn't have that feeling, so I can very much watch this episode without a problem. But yeah, that's my opinion, so let's see what he thinks about it. 3, 2, 1, click.
works best. Listen to your mom.
You know, I tried. I really tried. I tried to get behind the decisions that were made in this. I tried to figure out what went through the creative process in making
didn't
these
like
choices.
it.
I tried to consider multiple contexts, but no matter what I thought of, I couldn't justify why this was greenlighted. So yeah, here we have the first episode in Season 4 that I did not like. It had a ton of great ideas, had a ton of great setups, and even the potential to be my favorite episode ever.
Ooh,
but I
okay.
feel it blew it. Ugh, let me explain. So this starts out with Apple Bloom being given responsibility of looking after the farm for an afternoon. I like how these episodes are dividing up certain lessons to the Crusaders. Sweetie Belle seems to get more of the Others episodes, involving direct one-on-one relationships or with groups. Scootaloo seems to get the more self episodes, focusing on her internal conflicts. Apple Bloom's episodes seem to deal with growing up and moving into adolescence. I can't say I relate to that, given that I was a huge mama's boy and never really went through my rebellious phase or wanted more responsibility, but
Neither did I.
There are plenty of things one could do with this setup. Thankfully, it didn't go towards the route of the CMC party while the adults are away and get in trouble. That plotline I've seen way too many times.
Yeah, that wouldn't have
It
been
appears
good.
that Applejack is hesitant to leave her alone. Understandable. Applejack does have a protective streak, and considering her parents are dead, it would stand to reason that Applejack would be
she
protected.
did show it, but not in
Eventually,
that
Applejack relents,
magnitude,
but
I
not
think.
after delivering a list of chores and preventative measures. Hey, I don't blame her. I'd do the same thing. Apple Bloom seems to be able to take care of herself, but Applejack lets her fears get to her and goes back to check. And of course, there's a misunderstanding, and Apple Bloom doesn't communicate properly.
Yeah,
Ugh,
that's
I'm
true.
Sick of that.
That's not.
Applejack
It's not.
thinks that Apple Bloom can't take care of
It
herself.
wasn't a very nice
Oh dear,
moment.
she spilled cold soup. Call an ambulance. And she starts building safety nets, both figuratively and literally, for Apple Bloom. Okay, while that is funny, okay, if I'm being honest, it's downright hilarious. Seriously, Applejack? You trust Apple Bloom to corral a horde of pinkies, you trust Apple Bloom to gather apples on her own, and you trust Apple Bloom to go into the Everfree forest by herself to visit Sakura periodically. Suddenly, furniture has to be plastic wrapped.
Put a helmet on!
I just think that they
Okay,
took
yeah,
Applejack's
okay.
overprotectiveness and cranked it up to 11 for the sake of humor.
Yeah.
Sure, it was funny, and I would forgive
Yeah.
it if it weren't for the ending, which we'll get to in a second. So
Okay.
Apple Bloom eventually gets fed up with Applejack's antics and sneaks out. Applejack eventually finds out about the switch, and then Applejack drops a list of protective gear that is needed to get past the swamp. Okay, ignoring the fact that it's completely your fault that this is happening, Applejack, here's a thought. If you're so worried about Apple Bloom and you're deciding to go against the family's decision, why don't you, I don't know, hire a babysitter? Or better yet, ask one of your friends to look after her. Like
Okay,
you did with Scootaloo
okay.
with Sweetie Belle. Then you can
Yeah.
get back to your delivery like you were told to do. On a more positive note,
Okay,
the Fire
yeah,
Swamp is
good. Never.
honestly
I honestly never thought about
What are
that.
the 3 terrors of the fire swamp? 1, the flame spur. No problem.
And the Chimera, also really freaking cool, especially considering how they used a tiger and not a lion.
You are now entering the Chimera's Keep.
Apple Bloom tries to run and actually shows a bit of cleverness here.
Yeah.
Then the Chimera drops a line about having a sister over your shoulder all the time. Well, that's an interesting parallel. Too bad it's not utilized and completely forgotten in the next scene. Eventually, Applejack comes
He
to the
doesn't want to
rescue
swear,
and defeats
does he?
Chimera in a clever way. I thought she was going to do a no-holds-barred beatdown, which would have been cool, but I think it's far better she used her wits instead of her legs. And here's the part that I can't stand.
Okay.
The message. Applejack felt little to no remorse for pushing Apple Bloom to sneaking out. And what
Okay.
does she do to Apple Bloom? She tells Apple Bloom she can be trusted now. Let me rephrase that. Apple Bloom disobeys her older sibling, gets her friends into trouble, nearly costs the farm a huge sum of money, nearly gets herself killed, and is rewarded for it. Hey kids, you want to be treated like an adult? Trick your older siblings and set up on a high-risk, little-reward adventure. That'll get them to respect you. And the next thing is that Applejack got off scot-free. She disobeyed Granny Smith's orders and left their product unsold to look after Apple Bloom, which she technically failed at, and through her overprotectiveness, drove Apple Bloom to put herself in serious danger. No one's gonna call her out on this. Not even Apple Bloom. Not even herself. Applejack has repeatedly shown she's hard on herself when she makes mistakes. Nothing? And we're getting
Okay.
nothing? Okay, guys, here's the thing. As long as an episode is funny or entertaining, I can forgive characters not being portrayed positively. I can forgive an episode for being extremely dull. I can forgive poor world building. I can forgive an episode for giving an inapplicable moral. Heck, I can forgive an episode for just being completely incoherent. But what I cannot and will not forgive is giving a destructive message to kids, especially ones considering family. Okay, I need to calm down. I'm taking this way too seriously.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Yeah, well, he didn't really like it. He explained his points fairly well. I still don't really share him. I don't think any less about the episode. Like I said, I don't think it's great. I do, like I already said at Twilight Time, it's far from one of my favorite episodes. It's good, but not great. It's yeah, it's in the standard. I think it's very well done. Oh, it's, yeah, Twilight Time, pretty good. And like I said, Somepony to watch. I don't like it as much as Twilight Time, so it's underneath it, but still good, I think. I can understand his points. Most of them I didn't even think about, but I can't say that I really share them. Share them. I don't have that big of a problem. At least not as big of a problem as he has. I do see what he means, and I don't necessarily think he's completely wrong, but I can live with it, or with a lot of it, though at some points I do definitely agree they could have done it a little bit differently there, a little bit better there, especially that misunderstanding thing was a little bit yeah, there I have to agree. The ending he really didn't like. I didn't have a problem with or at least not a really big problem with the ending. Can't say, honestly. Though I have to say I never really thought about that. But yeah, I still like it. I can't see why he doesn't, but I have to say I still do. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's everything I have for now. And I mean, it's already going on for quite a while, so I'm just gonna end the video right here. Say I hope you guys like this little commentary, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Get along, little doggies. How do you like them apples? Night 4 won the war, loyal to my apple core. Ponyville gives amnesty, red delicious victory. Warhorse, proud to be, freedom isn't ever free. Hung my ribbons at the door, that's how apples won the war.